Quality is not an act, it is a habit. Hello, this is the Quality Link, brought to you by the regional network of standard setting bodies which make up the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, CROSQ. Every month on the Quality Link, we present one national standards body, NSB, to explore, discuss, or just give an update on how individual NSBs are supporting quality of life and business growth through standards, conformity assessment, and metrology.
Hello everyone, and you're tuned in to a next episode of CROSQ, the Quality Link. In this episode, we have a very vibrant team with us, and they're all the way from Guyana, and they'll be telling us about the National Quality Awards program in their country, and also in how the Quality Awards can help us across the region for respective NSBs and the benefits. Now, before I go into that, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Syeid Ibrahim. I'm your host. I'm the head of marketing at the Guyana National Bureau of Standards. And I have three lovely people with me this afternoon. And I'll let them introduce themselves before we go into the program. To my immediate right.
Hey guys, I'm DeFreitas. I'm the marketing officer of the Guyana National Bureau of Standards. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to tell you guys more about the National Quality Awards and how it benefits you as consumers and how it benefits your country.
Thank you, George. Up next is...
Hi, I'm Aishah Hussain from the Guyana National Bureau of Standards, the marketing officer. I'm really pleased to be here so I can share some information as well about the NQA and how it can benefit businesses and consumers.
And we have a very vibrant young man, and his hair looks so extremely neat. And you are?
Alright, hello everyone. My name is Tyrone Rambacchus. I am the Business Development Officer here at the GNBS, and it is a pleasure being here with you guys on this podcast so that we can talk all about the National Quality Awards and what it has to offer, more specifically the benefits of this award program directly for businesses throughout the country in different sectors.
Thank you guys, I really appreciate this, and I'm sure our listeners do. I mean, people out there generally, they hear the word Quality Awards or they hear about National Quality Awards, and you know, it's very popular in the North American region, the European region, and even the Africa region, but within our CARICOM Caribbean region is very limited. I think if I'm accurate, there's 3 member states within CARICOM that presently has National Quality Awards, and those are Jamaica, Guyana, and Suriname. So, and today we are here talking with Guyana, and we will of course like to learn about their experiences, how they have been able to improve over the years, what are some of the benefits, how important the NQA is to them, how's the nomination process, how do they go about selecting companies to be winners. We want to know about the event. We also want to know basically, you know, what happens after that NQA period. So we'll go right into the program, and I'll talk with George, and any of you could chip in during. So just indicate. So George, just if you had to sell the NQA program, and pretend I'm just a customer on the market or have no idea about what the NQA is, how would you sell the NQA?
Awesome, Syeid. I like the question, I like the approach, I like the energy. So the National Quality Awards is a national initiative for various countries that seek to recognize their local businesses for their commitment to quality and their commitment in implementing standards. So the Quality Awards is an exciting program that recognizes these businesses, that give them this additional promotion, that gives them this additional push to stay continued in their commitment to quality and standards.
Yes, I like that idea, and that is something is very important, not only to Guyana but as the region as a whole. Quality is the first step to getting anywhere. Tyrone, you want to chip in a little there? What is the importance of quality to the region here as a whole, or to each individual NSBs and member state who are seeking to, implement a national quality awards program?
Alright, so when it comes to standards and quality, it is something that a lot of our national standards bodies and so forth throughout the region, it is something that they're prioritizing. However, when it comes directly to the benefits of implementing these quality systems and so forth, it goes far beyond just what you would typically expect more so. Now, standards and quality, it is something that I like to say is everybody's business. And
I love to get into everybody's business, so I guess the NQA program is for me. Continue.
And it allows a lot of businesses, a lot of institutions, organizations, however you want to put it, for them to be able to give confidence to their prospective users more so of their services, of their products, whatever it is they're putting out there, because it allows them to guarantee that they can deliver and meet their requirements, their intended purpose, whatever that case may be. So it is something that is very advantageous more so, and whatever organization, whatever capacity you function in, once you're able to implement standards and quality, it goes a long way for you. So it is definitely beneficial in every regard.
I like that, because you know what, international trade has really penned the way how we do business here in the region, especially for export. You always have to have some quality management systems in place before you can access market. And with that, I'll go over.
That's a great point.
Yes.
Just to jump in there, having a quality management system in place, which the NQA encourages, allows businesses to have their competitive advantage. And this now allows them to get more customers and get more business and grow in the future. So well said, Tyrone.
Yes, and with that, I'm going to go over to one of our next speaker, Miss Aishah Hussain. Can you just tell me, let's touch on this a little, why do you think NQA program is important? Or how have you seen the importance as it relates to Guyana? And then you could spread that across.
NQA means that the country is focused on quality and standards. This is at a national level, and that's very important.
Yeah.
So what this means is that businesses are going to be getting national recognition. It also means that businesses are going to be more competitive, and what that means is that consumers are getting better quality products. So with competition comes better quality products and better prices as well. So generally, the quality and the standards institutions and the initiatives within the country is going to help to push that sort of quality recognition nationally, and it's going to help in every aspect of in any sector. And that's the best thing about it, is that it's not focused on one sector, it's focused on all the sectors.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Now, any one of you can answer is this quality program or quality awards, whatever you guys call it, or we call it here today, is it open to different categories or different sectors? You might want to elaborate on that for me a little. Any one of you, feel free.
So let me jump in here. In Guyana, the National Quality Awards is open to businesses of all sizes, from micro to large. But we have categories. We separate them in large business manufacturing, large business services, small business manufacturing, small business services, and then we go on to micro. Why do we do it like this? Because we want companies of like sizes competing with each other, so it has a fair playing field.
So I like the idea that you talk about micro, because many times what we face here is the challenges in the region that we fail to acknowledge I don't want to say the one-man band, but I would want to say that very small entities or entrepreneurs that have 1 to 3 to 5 persons, and they sometimes, people sometimes tend to push them aside because they look for the big giants or the big brands that they're familiar with. So I'm really happy to hear that you have a section there for a micro entity, and that's very good. In terms of, we talked about the category, I just want to know, how can I participate in the NQA? Tyrone, is it open to everybody? What is it?
Alright, so in order to be a part of this NQA program more so, it all starts with an application form. Now we had that process that was open more so, and during that period, a lot of businesses, as you mentioned, even the micro businesses, the one-man show, so to say, all the way from them to these large established companies that we're hearing about ever so often, they could have applied. Now through the application form that would have been submitted to us, there was a small application processing fee more so. Now once all of that was taken care of, the applications were received, and then there was a deadline, of course. Now at the end of that, all the applications that we received, they would have been evaluated to make sure that they fit into the respective categories.
Oh, so they're not automatically qualified.
Yes, and just to add on that, in Guyana, when these companies apply, we look to make sure that they have business registration, that they have certain policies in place as they're applying for the national
Yeah, that is
quality
nice
award.
because I've also been looking at Jamaica and think, sorry now, and I've noticed that they ask for companies to provide if they're compliant with the business tax
yes,
compliance or
insurance
social
compliance.
security, or they're registered as a business. But how do you treat the micro or the small agro processor who wants to be part of it?
So generally, although there are some requirements in terms of documentation for applying for the National Quality Awards, for the micro businesses, we have a little bit of a flexibility there, especially as it relates to some of the requirements as it relates to national insurance scheme compliance, or the tax compliance, so to speak.
I understand.
Right. So just so that we're
So
not
we
putting
encourage the
we're not putting
participation,
any
yes,
sort of
yes.
burden on them to apply, and we're not making it difficult. We're making it easy so that there's a somewhat of a level playing field, so that they're included.
So are these people competing with the big giants?
Absolutely, yes. So for our last, we recently actually closed application period for the National Quality Awards for Guyana, and we recently had a lot of micro enterprises that applied for the National Quality Awards. George can probably speak.
Yeah.
and
What
elaborate
I'm
more
trying
on
to get
those.
at, and I think I'm not sure if I'm on the same page here, is that when I say if these micro enterprises are competing, are they competing against each other, or they put into with the big
just to
giants?
clarify
Yes.
here, by having the various categories as we mentioned earlier, these micro enterprises now are, although they have the opportunity to win an overall award, but they win it in their class. So they're not competing against these companies that have been around decades and hundreds of years. So it's a fair playing field. So sauce makers will compete against sauce makers. You have coconut processors competing against coconut processors, all in one manufacturing
So
category.
that is nice to hear. What are some examples, or give me some persons that fall into that category? Like what do they do?
So-
I know you mentioned sauce maker. What kind of sauce are you talking about?
So in Guyana, we have we have a few companies that manufacture pepper sauce. They manufacture barbecue
Oh,
sauce.
that's lovely barbecue.
We
My
even have a
favorite.
mayonnaise dip manufacturer here. And
Oh,
it's
did you say
amazing.
dip?
Yes,
Yeah,
dip.
I love dips, especially with Doritos.
That's
That's
100% guys. It's made-
okay. So now that listeners, we're here with the guys. Sorry, I'm being gender biased. We have a female among us, Miss Aishah. So we're here with the team from Guyana, and they tell us, they just told us basically, in a nutshell, what is the NQA, what is it about, a basic overview, how important it is for them. But what I'm gonna go deep into now, because we're heading to the most important part of this show, is that once a company would have applied, you went through their applications, they were eligible. This is the big step, the competition. Everybody wants the crown. How do you go about assessing these companies once they're eligible? What do you do? Do you just go and you do like an interview, or do you just ask them to submit some documentations and you look at it? How is the assessment executed? I would like to know more of that, and I'm sure our listeners would like to hear that. So,
Well, thanks, Syeid. Well, NQA, it's a National Quality Award. So the assessment is in depth because we, for this particular program,
first of all, before we go into when you say assessment, or I'm saying assessment because I'm reading here from your document, is it an exam I'm taking?
It's what you call a professional audit.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, it's like
It's
an
in
audit.
the form of a professional audit.
Okay.
So you'll get a series of questions. You'll have to provide your evidence because some companies may say they have this thing in place and they may not actually have it in place.
Okay.
So the auditors or the assessors would ask you a series of questions. You present your information to them.
So I'm expecting an auditor is gonna come on site of my business or my organization, and they will want to see relevant documentation and supporting evidence.
Correct.
Is there any specific standard or guideline that is used in this quality award? I mean, how do I know what I'm being assessed against? If I'm a business and I want, what am I being assessed against? And how do I know, it's something that's fairly done?
And we make the process as transparent as possible. So the assessment is based on quality management principles. There are several principles that has been established and vetted over many, many years. We look into areas like leadership. We look into your company's strategy.
Okay, I'm familiar with some of this now. This is relating to the 9001 standard.
Yes.
So it's not basically the full standard. You're just assessing or being auditing on some areas of that standard.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Tyrone, you could probably shout more.
Yes, because when it comes to 9001 and standards, some people may get scared or they may feel, they may back away. But one thing I want to clarify on this show today is that you don't have to be 9001 certified.
You don't have to be.
You have to show that you are meeting those 9001 requirements.
Yes.
Okay.
So the thing is that with 9001, as you guys would know, and even our listeners, there are certain requirements that you have to get in order to comply or say that you have a quality system more so in place. Now, as George would have mentioned, this quality award program, it is more so about using the quality management principles to say that you have some sort, it doesn't have to be an in-depth system more so, but you have some sort of a quality system in place governing your operations. Now, going back to what we were discussing earlier with regard to these micro businesses, I just want to make it very clear that when it comes to the requirements or the things they should have in place to make up that quality system, it doesn't have to be anything extensive. All it could be is just have your documented SOPs, the way in which you carry out your operations.
What are SOPs?
So it's basically your standard operating procedure, step by step how you go about doing things, right? And a lot of these micro businesses, from our experience, what you see is that they have simple things such as like process flows, how they go about making their different products and so forth. Now, once they can have that, it means they have some elements of that 9001 standard that we were speaking about. Now, when it comes to all of this, we take that into consideration. So we're not saying that you must have specifically this, and this in place. We're just asking you to have some sort of quality system that applies to your operations. And from that, we basically assess with it.
Well, that's great to know. And I'm sure listeners, they're learning a lot here this afternoon. But in terms of two other things I want to, point out. When you're assessing a business organization, we're in 2023 and the environment is a very important part of our society today, taking into consideration global warming and also occupation safety and health is very important. Are these components part of your quality awards program?
Yes, so definitely when it comes to the different categories as we have, right, there will be awards giving out for specific things within those different categories as well. Health and safety, continual improvement, these are things more so that you're going to find that companies or businesses more so they can win awards for. So we're just not saying that, hey, you're going to win an award because you have a quality system. We're also going to be focusing on those very areas that you mentioned: health and safety, the environment, continual improvement, leadership, all of these different things.
Okay, thank you, Tyrone, and listeners. I'm very happy to hear this information, because I myself was wondering exactly how do they go about, assessing these companies. Is it going to be fair? Is it something that you just submit? Is it a written exam? But the guys here would have explained it very well, that the companies or the businesses are going to be assessed based on criteria of the ISO 9001 standard, and some aspect in their territory, the health and safety standard and environmental standard. I'm pretty much sure in your respective territories or region, there are occupation safety and health standards and environmental standards. For those who do not have that at the national level, I'm sure you can incorporate the CARICOM standard for that. Now that we would have talked about, about the assessment or the audit, what happens after the audit? So now you guys came, I applied, you assess my business or organization. So I just sit back and I wait now. Waiting, because I know my award's coming. So the big Grammy.
The big viewers, he's shaking in the corner while he's waiting.
Yeah, the big Grammys. So, what happens during this process after the assessments are completed?
So after the assessments are completed, the assessment forms are assigned a code, and then this code with the form goes on to a committee of evaluators. These evaluators don't know who these companies are. The only thing on this sheet is the company code, which the evaluators are unaware who this company is. This is to prevent any bias or impartial opinions from impacting.
So you're telling me that while all this is happening, there is a next committee there who are evaluators are going to assess what the auditors or the assessors would have done. So at the same time now you're going to have somebody to be assessing the auditors?
Yes. So after the auditors present their
this is to ensure transparency.
Exactly.
And I like the part that you mentioned a code, because the code there
doesn't show the company name.
Okay, so an evaluator
won't know
who's scoring that one of the assessment that an auditor would have done, they wouldn't be able to tell the name of a company. Or that can bring some peace of mind, because sometimes there's preferences, personal preferences.
Exactly. And in Guyana we have 3 independent evaluators and another tier that goes through all these documents, and then we do a weighted average score for these companies.
So Aishah, tell me a little bit more about this tier evaluator. I mean, George, I like that idea. I love it. You mentioned that these evaluators would have assessed the audit or the assessment, but now it goes to a final tier. What's that final tier is about? Tell me, come on. I would like to hear, or any one of you, if I'm not putting anybody on the spot, what is that final tier is about? Because that sounds so interesting. Like, I haven't come across in my researches yet a quality awards program that has a final tier. Is that something like, somebody or a next committee that looks back at the final score?
Essentially a double check.
Okay.
We want to ensure that these
scores
are giving are honest and clear as much as possible.
Because we would want to have a Steve Harvey moment.
No, we don't want a Steve Harvey moment. We don't want to say Miss Universe.
I know, and then especially if it's a competitive market.
Oh, and the National Quality Awards becomes very competitive. So it's essential to have these double checks in place.
Yes.
Now this gives the companies confidence in the quality of the National Quality Award.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back a little on. Tyrone, you would have mentioned. So we talk about, we talk about the audit or the assessment. We talked about how that's being done. We talked about what's gonna happen after that. But I want to pick out something that you would have mentioned. You mentioned we're talking about winners now. So are you saying that apart from overall winner per category, they are like a second place winner or sub winners? What exactly it is?
Alright, so it's not a case where we're gonna have like second place winners or something.
Oh my, and I thought, if I did stick a chance, I
A
could
winner
have.
is a winner.
We're looking for the runner-up. We need to win, but the runner-up couldn't work.
Yeah.
So in terms of the prizes that are going to be awarded more so, remember we established that there's going to be the different sectors more so. You're going to have manufacturing, services, small business, and micro or agro
Correct.
processing.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to these different categories more so like manufacturing, your services and so forth,
They're all overall winners. But
you will
have
also have winners for the different categories more so in terms of
like a Miss Congeniality. I'm just
Something
comparing.
something similar.
Or
Yeah.
best dressed costume because it's carnival. I'm sorry.
yeah, so it's gonna be like, for instance, let me just give you some examples.
Yes.
For the manufacturing sector or so forth, we're gonna have another winner for customer focus. Which companies focus more on customer improvement and so
Yes,
forth.
because we all know how customer service is
Yeah,
important,
Exactly.
especially in our service industry.
Exactly. So there's also going to be for continuous improvement, health and safety as we established, as well as environmental initiatives also. So that's basically how it's going to be broken.
What brought about the environmental initiatives? What brought about that?
Remember the standard?
Was it the passion, or was it because Guyana is known for its forests? what
So,
exactly?
The environment is everyone's responsibility.
Yeah.
And by having that in the National Quality Award, it brings attention to that companies need to pay attention to conserving the environment.
Yes.
It puts focus on the issue. We want to promote it in
An
the private
alternate
sector.
form of energy
Yeah,
and moving
exactly.
away from, because we all saw what happened with the war and how
Yes,
fuel
yes.
prices went up. So it's very important, that we have alternate use or methods.
We have a company in Guyana that produces plywood sheets, and the byproduct of that production, they use it as fuel in their boilers. So all of these various initiatives are reusing your resources and reducing wastage, all aims to conserve the environment, and we seek to recognize those initiatives.
So listeners, we're here with Team Guyana, George, Aishah, and Tyrone. So far, as I would have mentioned, we learned so much about the National Quality Awards program in Guyana. We had an overview. We went through the application process. We went through the assessment, how the assessments are conducted, what happens after the assessments are conducted. But, before we wrap things up, because time is catching up with us here this afternoon, I want to know, because this is Guyana's 4th edition, and they're launching their 4th National Quality Awards program, October 12, 2023. Congratulations. Yes. So I want to know what was some of the challenges looking back from 2017 to 2023. What were some of your challenges? How did you overcome those challenges? And and to make you where you are today. So we can start with any one of you. Just share your 2 cents on what was some of the major challenges, what was done.
So, in Guyana, as we executed our first NQA 6 years ago, it's been quite some time, we recognized that we had to break up the categories and define them better over time, because initially we had an overall category, one overall winner, but then we recognized in the process of the National Quality Award that we need to do it more sector and site specific, and this is why we had established the large category, the small business category and now the micro category. So these companies can now compete on equal footing and have an opportunity to showcase their product and services at the National Quality
So
Awards.
real competition, I love that.
Correct.
Especially competing. What else would you have learned over the years, or what new did you bring to the program? I heard George mention about micro, and if listeners are listening throughout this program, they would have heard micro and agro-processor. So one of you may want to comment on that, because I think this, from what I'm gathering here, it sounds like something new.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah.
So for this edition, we wanted to focus a lot on, or we wanted to include and ensure that the agro-processors or the micro businesses has an equal opportunity to win a national award. So this time around, we have included a new category, which is micro or agro-processing.
So what defines, I'm not going to put you in a pause here. What defines a micro from a small business?
So in Guyana, we define it as any business that is involved in operations that have 10 or less employees.
And this is based on you setting that benchmark, or
No,
it's
we
based
actually have a national standard in our Made in Guyana program that provided the base for that assessment.
Okay, so you also work with your Small Business Act then?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And our Small Business Act really provide the definition for how we would categorize micro and small business.
Okay, so sorry, we went off track there a little. But yes, I'm happy to hear that agro-processors or the micro cottage industries are eligible to be part of this program, because many of the times we see the big giants, not gonna call names, but we see the big giants, taking away these accolades or these awards and having all the fame. And things like the nice sugar cake or the lovely barbecue sauce, people are left, or even the plantain chips. I had some really good one the other day, and believe it, the packaging was lovely. Tyrone, anything you want to mention? What was some of the challenges? What new came on? So we have two so far. George spoke about new categories. Aishah talk about emphasis on micro and agro processing. I heard you mention earlier into the program individual awards.
Yes.
So it's not just like one overall winner. There's a chance for you to have, there's a chance for an organization or business to get an additional award. So so it gives, if I'm thinking right, and I'm going to let you speak just now, if I'm a business or organization and I haven't captured that overall winner, let's say in the manufacturing category that I apply, it still gives me hope that I can capture an award in the area of strength for my business.
Definitely. So one of the things when we first launched way back when, it was more so a case where, as we had, as you said, overall winners more so. Over the years, what we've seen is that we can definitely do way more when it comes to giving out these awards more so. So we have different awards that are going to be giving out as well. Now for this edition more so that's upcoming, we have placed emphasis more so when it comes to health and safety and environmental initiatives, because we've seen the need more so for emphasis to be placed in these areas more so. So one of the things that we're doing differently is we're just not only giving awards out for the overall winners in the different industries more so, but we're also giving out awards for the respective areas more so, if we can say that. For instance, like as we mentioned, customer focus, continuous improvement, and so forth. But specifically, we are also focusing a lot on health and safety this edition, as well as environmental initiatives which businesses may put forward as well.
Well, thank you, Tyrone. And this is a lot of information that we would have summed up here in our short program here on the Quality Link by CROSQ. But very good team, very good work, Guyana. Good stuff. I'm pretty much sure that persons listening in the region, this is very food for thought. Not just NSBs, but you may have one, two private sector organizations that may want to implement such a program. Irrespective of which territory or country, what's best and how to implement it For those persons who would like to have more information, feel free to reach out to CROSQ, or you can like their page on Facebook and follow us on YouTube at CROSQ. But before I go, once again, and with the lovely team that I have here this afternoon, is that, we were talking about the National Quality Awards program, and I learned so much this afternoon, thanks guys, that, so much about the program that I thought only existed in the Northern Hemisphere, or, the European or Asia Pacific. But to learn that such a program exists right here in our Caribbean region, in Guyana, Suriname, and Jamaica, it tells a good story, and it shows that, the emphasis or the passion that we have in promoting standards and quality in our region, and recognizing businesses and organizations that are demonstrating commitment to quality and standards. So I'm just gonna sum up back before the end of the program for those persons who are now joining in late, or they would have missed the first part. We are with Team Guyana, George, Aishah, and Tyrone, and we spoke about the National Quality Awards program, where they gave us an overview about the National Quality Award program, who it is for, some of its benefits, how you can be eligible to participate, the different categories of award, how the NQA program is executed, from conducting assessments, from scoring to selection of winners. And also, what I did forget to mention, and we did highlight, is the challenges. But I want to bring up one question before I go. I know we were wrapping this up. Is that I want to know what happens after I win this quality, or after this program is finished. Is it like a big gala? Am I imagining like a MTV Music Award or a Grammys Award? And what happens after this award?
It's like the national. The national Grammy.
I can go on talking about quality awards. I've ended this show 2 times already, but I know. But it's just for our listeners to hear.
So it's an amazing ceremony.
It's a prestigious ceremony, just like the award. It's the actual award.
Do you guys have like Rihanna
award.
performing and?
Yeah. In Guyana, we have local artists coming to perform.
Okay,
Vibrant.
Yeah.
And what happens to businesses after this award or organization? Like winners, are they? Do you have any PR campaigns for them and everything else?
We actually run promotional campaigns for companies that have participated and won awards in different categories. So it means that once you are applying and once you would have won an award within the categories or at the National Quality Awards, you will be able to benefit from promotions and it will help you to boost sales, it will help you to gain some traction, and we basically help to build awareness of your business as well.
All right,
so
thank you so much. Thank you, team. I really enjoyed this session or this episode of the quality. It was lovely to have you all here. And listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And we know it's carnival time, so we keep this jamming until we have the next quality episode. So take care.
This has been a production of the CROSQ's Marketing, Information, Knowledge Management and Education Committee. Join us next time for another episode of The Quality Link.